What's up everyone? In this video we are going to be working on the basement Airbnb room, and I'm going to be starting all of the plumbing. Well, really it's just going to be concrete cutting and breaking out and digging, but I do make a really big mistake in this video, so make sure you stay tuned to see what happened. Anyways, let's hop right into it. Alright, here we are jumping right into work, and we got this board set, and that is going to be the back wall for the bathroom wall. And we measured it so that the tub would fit perfectly in that cavity where my brother's standing right now, and then we started out measuring everything from there. So since we knew exactly where the tub was going to land, we measured from the width of the tub to the next wall and found out exactly how much room we had, and then we split it in between the two for a toilet and for a vanity. Now we're going to be using a small vanity from Home Depot, so we just measured the difference in between the two so that you had enough space to actually use the toilet. So we are actually going to box this bathroom in, and the wall is going to land where those two studs are, and where that wall is going to land is going to end up being 92 inches from the shower wall to where the sink is going to be, and then we're going to have 54 inches from the wall where the shower is to where the toilet is, and that should give you plenty of space. And then the shower base is going to start there, and we have the drain where it is going to be centered in the tub, and we just measured that off of the wall, specific to the dimensions that were provided. From there, we decided to start routing where we wanted our plumbing to land, so we were kind of going based off of where that toilet is currently to where we think that entrance into the grinder pump is, and this is kind of what we came up with how we thought we were going to run everything. Now, we weren't 100% sure how the plumbing was actually ran underground currently, so keep that in mind as we're going through this, because this is all just a guessing game at the moment. So we're measuring out where the sink and the tub and the toilet are going to land, and this is what we came up with. We think this is how we're going to end up running it. Now, it is kind of a big turn in the back to make for solid waste, but it's the best that we have to work with without replacing the actual grinder pump basin itself. So from there, it was time to start cutting the concrete and figuring out what was underneath. So we marked out exactly where I needed to cut, and I started prepping the saw to get it ready to go. And the issues I was running into with this was that the saw kept tripping the breaker. So I ended up just hooking it up to my generator, and when we were setting it up, we ended up making too much dust, and that ended up being a problem. So I hooked it back up to the water just so we would keep the dust down, and that worked out a little bit better. So at this point, I finally got it to start working, and you can see I work my way back on the line and then push it forward as I'm cutting. That is the best way that I found to do this process, and it seemed to be working out pretty well through all of this. And as I turn this corner, I'm just smooth sailing and everything's going great. And then all of a sudden I feel this crazy splash on my face, and I thought maybe the hose broke for some reason, but I ended up hitting the main water line that was coming in. Granted, this should have been buried a lot deeper, and it ended up being right on the bottom of the cement. So I'm going to show you a little bit of the aftermath of what happened. Luckily, we took the toilet off of the flange, and we also had a floor drain, so the grinder pump was taking all the water that was coming out and pumping it out into the yard. So it wasn't as bad as it could have been, but it did take a lot of effort to get to the point that we were currently at right here. I had to run to my storage unit to get the key to shut off the water at the street, and my brother ended up grabbing a pry bar and just slamming down on the pipe to kink it, and I'm going to show you here in a second, but this is exactly what I did. I cut straight through that pipe, and then my brother grabbed a pry bar, and what he did was he just slammed down on it, giving minimal water flow so that we could wait for the city to come out and shut off the water. And then this is the grinder pump that was pumping everything out. Here's the floor drain that all the water was flowing into, and then here's the toilet drain that we also set up for the water to flow into. Luckily, we had it all set up like that. So we got back to work as soon as everything was shut off and started ripping out all the concrete. I had to call a plumber to come in and fix this line, because I didn't want to mess with it myself. So what he ended up doing was putting a mechanical fitting on it. That way it just never has any problems again unless someone like me comes in and cuts through it again. And once he was complete with his job, we started digging out all of our trenches that we needed to do so that we could run the pipe in order to have all the proper water flow to the right areas. And this part kind of sucked, in all honesty. It was just really dirty, and it's not fun to do this part, but once you're done with the plumbing, it goes back together pretty quickly, and you'll see that here in the next few episodes. So now that we got all the trenches dug out, we're kind of just talking about our game plan, because we can actually see exactly how they ran the pipes that are currently existing. All right, here's what we did. We ended up digging out all of the areas that we needed to for getting this bathroom set up, and they ended up fixing the line. I'll talk more about how we hit that and screwed myself. So I had to get the water department to come out and turn off the water and have someone come in and fix that water line coming in. But it was behind the water meter, so it really messed me up. So it was just spraying everywhere. We had like an inch of water in the basement. So yeah, sink's gonna go here, toilet's gonna go back in here, and then shower P-trap in there. And then the sink line for the kitchen is gonna come through that wall and drop down into the shower. And right now we have the grinder pump feeding the toilet, and then we have the drain coming down here around the grinder pump and swinging into the grinder. So I think what we're gonna end up doing is cutting the drain back here and running it straight into the sink and tying it together. Then it'll run to the toilet and hit the toilet at the same time and work its way back into the grinder pump. And then a shower P-trap will be here, and then the sink from the kitchen will also tie into that, and it'll be pretty minimal as everything goes. So it won't be this like 90-degree setup. It'll be probably a 45 and then a 22 to make it start coming straight, and then another 22 or so to come catch the toilet. So that way your solid waste can swing through pretty gradually and land in the grinder and then get pumped up and out to the septic tank. So I'm gonna leave it at that for this episode as far as the work goes. Now, I did want to talk a little bit about what I learned throughout this whole process. Now, I did make a pretty big mistake to where it cost me $400 plus another 3 hours of time that we could have spent working. And what I would have done differently in all reality would have just been to look a little bit closer as to where the water line runs. Now, in reality, it really shouldn't have been that close to the cement as far as where that pipe sits. It should have been buried further in the dirt. Sasha's coming over this way, so don't mind her. She's a little sneak peek of what the kitchen's at right now. But the pipe shouldn't have really been that high up or that close to the concrete. So in all reality, I guess it's not something I could have totally avoided, but I could have paid a little bit more attention and thought more about it. So looking into the future, if I ever go to break out some concrete in the basement again, I'm gonna look around and make sure there shouldn't be any sort of drain lines or anything underneath it. But we made the best of it, and like I said, it only set me back like 3 hours that day, so we made it work. And I mean, all that concrete was coming out anyway, so replacing a little bit of pipe isn't the end of the world. Now, I hope you liked this video. In the next one, we are going to be doing the plumbing and probably pouring the concrete for it. That's gonna encase it back in and make that whole room a whole again. So make sure you stay tuned for that. If you like this video, make sure you hit that like button. And if you wanna see more, make sure you subscribe, because that's gonna be the easiest way to track everything that I'm doing. So with that being said, I will catch you in the next one.